2025, people aren't just moving for opportunity, they're escaping. From rising costs to political unrest, from housing collapse to disappearing freedoms, millions are quietly packing their bags, slipping out of countries they once called home. And the world isn't talking about it. This isn't about war zones or failed states, it's about nations that seem stable on the surface, but underneath, something's broken. In this video, we uncover the 5 countries where citizens and expats alike are walking away not with protest signs, but with one-way tickets. If you've ever wondered where people are really going and why they're giving up on home, this list may shock you. Let's begin. It might sound surprising, but Germany, long seen as Europe's economic engine, is quietly losing people in 2025. And it's not just a brain drain. It's families, professionals, even retirees choosing to leave. Why? And let's start with the cost of living. While Germany has always had higher living costs compared to some European neighbors, recent inflation and skyrocketing energy prices have made life unaffordable for many middle-class households. Rent in major cities like Berlin and Munich is climbing fast, with housing demand outpacing supply by a wide margin. In some neighborhoods, renters are competing with 100+ applicants per apartment. Then there's the bureaucracy, which, for many, feels like it's only getting worse. From endless paperwork for residency or business permits to complex tax systems, people, especially foreign-born residents, are feeling worn down. For entrepreneurs, freelancers, and digital nomads, countries like Portugal, Spain, or Georgia offer more flexibility and less red tape. Another growing issue is cultural fatigue. Germany's political climate is shifting. Tensions over immigration, protests about energy policy, and increasing polarization are leading to social anxiety, especially for international residents and dual citizens who feel less secure or welcomed than before. Many expats say that while Germany still feels safe, it no longer feels stable. And what about opportunity? Wages have stagnated even as taxes and expenses rise. Young professionals are increasingly eyeing places like the Netherlands, Czech Republic, or the Nordics, countries with similar safety and infrastructure, but more personal freedom and support for innovation. Let's not forget the aging population and mounting pressure on the social welfare system. In 2025, younger Germans are being asked to pay more while receiving less in services, support, and upward mobility. One more thing, Germany's climate policies, while globally praised, are hitting local wallets hard. High energy taxes, bans on traditional heating systems, and new environmental fees are making homeowners and small businesses rethink their future in the country. Combine that with frustrating delays in green infrastructure, and the mood is turning. So, where are people going? Spain, Austria, the Balkans, even Latin America, not necessarily chasing wealth, but chasing breathing room. Germany isn't collapsing, but in 2025, for many, it feels like it's slowly closing in, and that's why it opens our list. South Africa is a country with rich natural resources, vibrant culture, and immense potential, but in 2025, more and more of its citizens are quietly slipping out the back door, and the reasons are no longer just historical, they're deeply current. Let's start with the economic situation. South Africa has battled high unemployment for years, but in 2025, youth joblessness has crossed a crisis threshold. In some regions, over 60% of young adults can't find stable work. For skilled professionals, the message is simple: your opportunity might be elsewhere. Then there's the power crisis, literally. Load shedding or planned power outages continues to cripple businesses and daily life. With no permanent solution in place, even middle-class neighborhoods suffer hours without electricity. For tech workers, students, and healthcare professionals, this isn't just an inconvenience, it's a wall. Safety remains a core concern. While many parts of South Africa are peaceful, violent crime rates remain high in urban centers like Johannesburg and Cape Town. People worry not just about theft, but about systemic violence, slow emergency response, and a sense that institutions are overwhelmed or failing. And the wealth divide, it's growing. South Africa remains one of the most unequal societies in the world. For many families, the future feels like a closed door unless they look beyond the country's borders. In 2025, a rising number of professionals, especially in medicine, engineering, and IT, are relocating to countries like Australia, Canada, the UAE, and the UK. These nations offer what South Africa can't: stable infrastructure, personal security, and long-term economic certainty. But it's not just the rich or highly educated who are leaving. Many middle-class South Africans are selling homes, applying for ancestral visas, and even taking lower-skilled jobs abroad just for peace of mind and a better shot at stability. Education is also driving people out. Parents are increasingly worried about the future of the school system. Private schools are expensive, and public schools face challenges ranging from underfunding to safety issues. For families who can, moving abroad is seen as an investment in their children's future. One overlooked reason for the exodus? Mental exhaustion. The emotional toll of living with constant uncertainty over power, safety, opportunity wears people down, and when surviving becomes the daily goal, thriving feels out of reach. South Africa isn't giving up. Many are fighting to fix what's broken. But in 2025, a growing number are choosing a different path, not because they want to abandon their homeland, but because they can't wait any longer. For years, China was the poster child for economic growth, a country that lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty and became a global powerhouse. But in 2025, behind the headlines of mega projects and tech breakthroughs, a different trend is unfolding. People are quietly leaving. It's not a mass exodus, it's not chaos, it's calm, calculated, and growing, especially among China's young professionals, entrepreneurs, and wealthy elites. The first major reason? Economic slowdown. After decades of rapid growth, China's economy is cooling off. Youth unemployment has reached record highs, with official figures showing over 20% joblessness among urban graduates. Entire industries, especially real estate and tech, have been hit hard by crackdowns and shifting policies. Many young Chinese feel stuck, overqualified, underpaid, and unable to buy homes due to skyrocketing prices and a collapsing housing market. That dream of middle-class stability feels more distant than ever. Second, there's tightening political control. Under President Xi Jinping, China's surveillance state has expanded. From online speech to academic expression, the space for personal freedom continues to shrink. For entrepreneurs and creatives, this environment feels suffocating. Startups are relocating to Singapore, Canada, and the US, where innovation isn't shadowed by censorship. Wealthy citizens are also hedging their future. Golden passport programs and overseas property purchases have soared in places like Portugal, Australia, and the UAE. Some are preparing backup plans. Others are already gone. China's capital control policies make it harder, but not impossible. Another factor? Education and parenting. A growing number of middle-class families want their children to study and grow up in freer, more globally connected environments. International schools in China are expensive and limited, so many parents are looking west, or to places like Malaysia and Thailand, where schooling is affordable, English is spoken, and lifestyle is more relaxed. Even within China, internal migration tells the story. Tier 1 cities like Beijing and Shanghai are seeing outflows of talent while people shift to quieter coastal or interior cities, or beyond the country entirely. Health and environmental concerns add to the push. While pollution has improved in some areas, air and water quality remain real concerns. After COVID-19 lockdowns and strict zero-COVID policies, many citizens are also wary of future restrictions. They want the ability to move freely. But make no mistake, China is still a rising power. It's not collapsing. Far from it. But for a growing segment of the population, the trade-off between opportunity and control no longer feels worth it. The United Kingdom once symbolized global opportunity, a place where people from all over the world came to work, study, and thrive. But in 2025, something has changed. A rising number of citizens and residents are quietly choosing to leave, not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily. And for many, it comes down to a growing sense of disillusionment. First, let's talk economics. Since Brexit, the UK's economy has faced persistent headwinds. Inflation, interest rate hikes, and stagnant wages have hit the middle and working classes especially hard. The cost of living in cities like London, Manchester, and Edinburgh has outpaced income, with rent, utilities, and grocery bills pushing families to the brink. Owning a home? For many young Brits, it's a fantasy. In 2025, home prices remain high, while mortgage rates have doubled over the past few years. Even professionals earning decent salaries are struggling to build financial security. Next, there's the NHS crisis, a national institution now buckling under pressure. Wait times for surgeries and general appointments have stretched into months, even years. People aren't just leaving for better wages, they're leaving for better healthcare access in places like Spain, Portugal, and Australia. Then comes immigration and visa stress, not for outsiders, but for British citizens married to non-British spouses or holding dual nationalities. Post-Brexit rules have made it harder to stay, harder to return, and harder to bring family members in. That added friction has pushed many binational families to settle abroad permanently. Many UK residents also feel trapped by what they see as cultural division and political stagnation. The political climate remains polarized and public trust in government institutions continues to erode. Some feel unheard, others feel unrepresented. Most just feel exhausted. The UK's departure from the EU has also closed a major door, the freedom to live and work across Europe. What was once simple now involves visas, red tape, and uncertainty. And for many who dreamt of a flexible, European lifestyle, relocating permanently to EU nations now feels like the only logical choice. A growing number of young professionals, remote workers, and even retirees are relocating to southern Europe, particularly Spain, Italy, and Greece, where the climate is milder, costs are lower, and healthcare is more accessible. Australia, New Zealand, and Canada also remain top destinations for skilled migrants looking for fresh starts. So, no, the UK isn't collapsing. But for many of its own people, it no longer feels like the land of promise, at least not right now. The United States has long been seen as the ultimate destination, a global magnet for ambition, innovation, and freedom. But in 2025, something unusual is happening. A growing number of Americans are quietly leaving. They're not storming the airports, they're not protesting, they're packing boxes, cashing out, and starting over somewhere else. Let's start with the cost of living crisis. In 2025, housing affordability is at historic lows. Major cities like Los Angeles, New York, Austin, and even smaller metros are seeing rent and home prices soar beyond reach. For many, owning property or even maintaining a modest lifestyle now feels out of the question. Add in rising healthcare premiums, food inflation, and student loan burdens, and the dream of financial freedom seems to be slipping away. Then there's the healthcare issue. Even with insurance, many Americans report delaying care due to high deductibles and out-of-pocket costs. Medical bankruptcy is still a very real threat. That's pushing retirees and even younger families to explore countries where high-quality healthcare is more affordable, like Portugal, Mexico, and Thailand. Another driving force, political division and instability. From school board meetings to federal policy, the polarization of American life has left many citizens feeling exhausted and disillusioned. Some are seeking peace. Others are escaping what they see as a brewing internal conflict. Work-life balance is another big factor. In the US, long hours, limited vacation time, and a culture that prizes hustle over health have taken a toll. Meanwhile, nations like Spain, Costa Rica, and Canada offer more flexible lifestyles, lower stress, and strong social safety nets. Then there's the issue of gun violence and public safety. While many Americans still feel secure day to day, mass shootings and community-level crime have made public spaces feel unpredictable. For parents, the fear of sending kids to school has become a heartbreaking new norm. This emotional burden has led many families to consider safer, slower-paced countries. And finally, remote work has opened the floodgates. With more people working online, the question arises, why stay where you struggle when you can thrive somewhere else? In 2025, Americans are relocating to places where their dollar stretches further, their healthcare is reliable, and their lifestyle is less stressful. From digital nomads settling in Latin America to retirees buying homes in Southern Europe, this isn't fantasy. It's happening now. No, the US isn't crumbling, but many of its own people are quietly voting with their feet, not because they hate the country, but because they've outgrown what it's offering them.